Yo, what is going on, everyone?
Hmm.
Welcome back to Spread of the News. This is episode 9 of Spread of the News.
It's 9.
It's 9, right?
It is 9.
Yeah,
So
crazy. 9 weeks of us doing Spread of the News. Really weird. I am your host, Chase, and we are here with Brian.
Well, I was just fighting off a sneeze there. But how's everybody doing? Yankees have 25 wins. They're the best team in baseball. I think we're a good luck charm because this is the best start I can remember.
And we are here with Danny.
yes, smiles all around because the boys are bopping. Shout out Dave Parker. We miss you, Luke Voigt. Let's go, Yanks.
As you can tell, we are not together. We are still virtual. Brian and Danny have 2 different settings that they're in. We are all home, but we're working on trying to do in-person podcasting, but we haven't quite figured it out yet. But we're trying, so that should be coming soon, hopefully. Brian's never mind. Anyways, boys, let's talk some Yankees. We're gonna start with the Yankee of the week first this week. So, Danny, who's your Yankee of the week? What do you got?
I was going to say one guy because you guys know I could talk about Clay Holmes for hours and hours, but I'm going to go someone different this week. And we are going to go Nasty Nestor Cortez. This guy is amazing. He is not only like a guy that the Yankees picked up and he's been all right for. He is among the best pitchers in the league. He has the best ERA in the league right now, in the American League at the moment. But he is amazing. Let's start off. He started on Monday, the first game of this week since the last time we talked. And you just messed me up. Is it good?
Well, let's just clarify quickly. Danny's having a little bit of audio issues today. So if you're hearing some fuzziness in the background, that's what you're hearing. And we're giving him.
Do you hear it right now?
No, it's fine right now. But we're giving him thumbs down every time that it happens.
I got it.
He's good.
Anyway, Nestor Cortez on Monday, May 9th. He took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. I'm a little surprised Boone left him out there to try to complete the no-hitter because it was a 0-0 game at the time or a 1-0 game at the time. And you see around Major League Baseball that even if a guy has a no-hitter, they're going to get taken out depending on pitch count. And he was up there. He ended up finishing with 103 pitches. But as soon as he let up that hit, Boone took him out, which is good, obviously. And that game was a little weird. Like, we needed that from Nestor Cortez because the offense just could not hit that game. It felt like, we were coming off the 3 days rest still, as we talked about last week. And the offense just couldn't get going. Rizzo ended up driving in Judge. And Judge scored from first. He was hustling on that. Love to see the hustle on these guys this year. But, yeah, we needed an outing from Nestor. The offense scored 1 run, and that was enough for Nestor to get the win. And, well, not the win, to get the Yankees the win. But Nestor took a no-hitter into the 8th and still did not get a W. A little Jordan Montgomery-esque. But, we'd love to see that from Nestor. And then again today, he's going up against Michael Kopech, who the Yankees could not hit at all again. We had 3 runs in the second inning on walks and wild pitch. We had 1 hit with 3 runs throughout the majority of the game until the 9th inning when Joey Gallo. But anyway, today, Nestor Cortez, 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. He had 11 strikeouts in that Monday game. I didn't mention that. But again, he was scoreless. He had scoreless going into the 8th. Again, Boone left him out there because your best pitcher, you're going to leave out there for the 8th. Like we saw in the beginning of the season, Nestor was capped at like 5 innings, maybe 6. But now, we're really seeing the potential and how good this guy really is. He could pitch through the 8th inning. And he let up a run there in the 8th. But whatever, 1 run. You're allowed to let up 1 run in 8 innings. But huge, just huge, carrying the Yankees on his backs for 2 games this week. That got it. Nestor Cortez won us 2 games because the offense wasn't that good in either of those starts. But anyone else have anything to say about Daddy Nestor?
I was going to say, going back to the Monday game against the Rangers, like you were saying, the offense struggled to hit John Gray somehow, who is awful.
Yeah.
But, another thing that came up, I want to say the Yes Network showed the graphic of the top 5 pitchers in the American League this year with the least amount of run support, and the Yankees have 2 of the top 5, and Nestor is 5, and Montgomery is 4th. So a little alarming that we can't get the runs for these guys, but like you said, we can single-handedly Nestor picked up 2 wins for us this week, especially with the dominance in that game and today. I don't really know what else can be said about him. I say that every week about him because I'm out of words for Nestor. If our YouTube viewers can see my newly picked up Nasty Nestor shirt. So I'm loving the ride. So let's just keep this going. Because as you said, like, and me and Chase talked about this a little today, like, he is the Cy Young, like right now. And it's not early enough for like, oh, wow, it's only a couple starts. Like everyone's pitched and like he's been the best. And I don't know how, but he has been.
Yeah. I mean, through 7 games, he's the best pitcher in the American League. I mean, if you said that, remember 2 years ago when Nestor Cortez, or 2-3 years ago when Nestor Cortez was first on the Yankees and he was god awful. He had a ERA in the 5s, and then we let him go. He went to Seattle. Remember how mad we were when we signed Nestor back? We were like, "Why the fuck are we signing this guy back? He's awful." And look at what happened.
I think I remember sending you guys a text saying like, "Man, we can't ever cut like old ties. Like we can't ever get rid of like we always keep bringing back the same assholes." But man, Nestor, just to elaborate a little bit on Nestor, I've been thinking about this for a few weeks now. I almost feel like every time he makes a start, I'm waiting for him to implode and have a bad start. And I'm waiting for that game where he, gets blown up, where he has 4 and 5 and maybe even 6, who knows? But it's not happening. And it's every single time he goes out there, he's dominant. And like Brian said, there's really not much more I feel like every week we're talking about Nestor, saying, nothing but good things about him. But there's not much more for me to even say because every week I say I'm at a loss for words, and I'm still at a loss for words. And I'm like I said before, like I'm always waiting for that bad start, but it's not happening. And I think this is it, boys. I think Nestor is the real deal.
Yeah, I mean,
I think absolutely. I'm convinced.
And this right now, definitely the real deal. Like this start to the season is a surprise to many people. But like Boone said today, like, why is it a surprise? He showed he could be this dominant last year, but you hear Nestor Cortez, you don't think, oh, that's an ace. That's a high end of the rotation kind of guy. And even we were a little doubtful on it coming into the season, but he's proved everybody wrong. He's proved that he could be a top of the rotation starting pitcher. And like we said, like you said, he's been mostly dominant. There have been a couple starts this year that we've talked about where he didn't look as sharp, but he still exits the game with a good outing because that's just what ace pitchers do.
Chase, I was going to say before that I completely agree with you, like where I'm almost waiting for Nestor to get hit around a little bit, and it has not happened. And now he's almost converting me. Like now I go out there, when he goes out there, I expect him to just give us like 6 or 7, like with no runs. And it's crazy. Like I even think and expect that from him. And one thing I did want to say about Nestor is that recent like interview this week that like I loved when I think he was asked about like just like his journey so far and whatever. And he was saying how like baseball is all he knows how to do and he's not really good at anything else. So like, although he's picked so late, like he just going to ride this out as long as he can and like help the team. And like I'm in love with Nestor Cortez. Like, how could you not love this guy? He's the most likable player, most easily to root for player in all of baseball. And he helps us out so much. Like, he's not even just one of those meme Yankees, like, oh, we love him because we love him. But like, he's so good too. He's I
want to know if he's one of those pitchers where around the league, everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Not even just fans, like the players. Like, do you think like the players they have to know, right? Because they have to, like, that's a part of their job, right? The scouting, their own little scouting.
Michael Kay, I think, was saying it in the Monday game against Texas, where I think it was him and Maben on the call, if I remember correctly. But he was like, Cameron, don't you think these hitters after every start, they're like, how can we not hit this guy, Nestor Cortez?
Yeah,
like,
insane.
They probably do think that way because honestly, I don't know how they don't either, but they don't.
And it used to be like last year, it was a lot of him changing up timing and changing up his rhythm and, getting the high leg kick and holding it there. He hasn't really done that much this year because now he just has the stuff. He has the stuff to get guys out. He doesn't need to rely on those little tricks, those little antics to throw hitters' timings off. It's just his stuff is that good. You can't hit him. He doesn't throw hard. He just hits his spots. And yeah, I would be like, how the fuck are we not hitting this guy?
There's nothing more awesome than when a pitcher hits a corner for a strike 3 call. It's like one of my favorite things to watch a player or a pitcher, I should say, paint a corner. It's so satisfying. And Nestor, I feel like, does it at least 3 or 4 times a game through his X amount of strikeouts that he gets per game. But I'm at a loss for words for Nestor. I feel like as this podcast goes on throughout the next couple months and obviously beyond, I feel like we're going to just keep talking highly of him because he literally is, I love Garrett Cole. I think he has a legitimate chance at being an American League Cy Young this year. But Nestor is in that conversation, and Nestor has been better than Garrett Cole this year, the $324 million man. So it's really like you don't see this. Like after Nestor is like done with the Yankees, you probably won't see another thing like this for another like I don't even know how many years. It'll be a long time.
It's almost reminiscent of Linsanity. Like honestly, like when you said that.
See, but like if Nestor could pick this up, like you're saying, when he's done with the Yankees, he's 27 years old right now. He could be realistically, he could be on the Yankees for many more years.
On Instagram the other day, he said, "I want to be a Yankee for life."
So what you're saying, we're gonna have the Cy Young for 10 straight years till he's 37.
Look, man, like I said, like I'm still waiting for that bad start, and like I almost feel like it's inevitable. But like, I don't know, man. Like he legitimately has a chance to win the Cy Young Award. It's insane what I'm watching. It really is.
You know when it comes time, even if he still has these numbers, he's gonna get snubbed somehow. They're gonna find some way to put a guy above him, even if he has like they did it to Judge in 2017. The writers they won't give it to him.
They will. I think he's likable enough. And
I don't know. He's still not. Yeah, but he's still not known around the league as like an ace. People still think of him as like that meme player who like is fun.
He is a meme.
Like,
but a good meme. A good meme.
But no, like he used to be like, oh, he's fun to watch and he's like a meme, but nobody really knows. Like nobody around baseball. I know all Yankee fans do, but not many people around baseball really know how good this guy really is.
It's insane.
I think the MLB is trying to really promote him. Like on TikTok, they had that little like question answer with him. Like the MLB knows they have like a gem like with Nestor, and they want to promote as much as they can. And another thing I did want to say before we got off Nestor, when Danny. I know. I love that. I want to see him if we go. But another thing, because you were mentioning like how his stuff's good this year, and I really think that we got to give a little nod to Matt Blake because the whole staff, and I think he probably has a lot to do with Nestor being so good this year. The whole staff has been, and the bullpen, with like a couple exceptions. And I really think that Matt Blake deserves a lot of credit for that because, again, when they hired him, we were like, who's this guy? He's a college guy because he was from Michigan, but he's converted this staff into a like powerhouse, like monster.
Oh yeah. They're, top pitching staff in the league right now. And we didn't expect that. Like that's never been the Yankees MO. Like we're supposed to be hitting home runs and scoring a lot of runs and giving up a good amount of runs. But this is completely flipped from what we're used to. And it's awesome to see. I love seeing it. I love seeing a pitcher's duel and then we score our runs by stringing hits together and manufacturing runs, not just relying on a couple home runs.
Yeah, it's insane. We won't see anything like this again for a long time. I said it in one of our first few episodes. Nestor is going to get paid if he keeps playing like this. The Yankees will have to pay him. And who knows, maybe he'll walk because maybe they won't want to pay him. They have a lot of guys they have to pay. But it's truly something to really, I love breaking it down because he's such a fun player and he's so likable. Not only as a Yankee fan, but I feel like around the league, I feel like he would be likable as a Yankee because obviously everybody hates the Yankees, but
yeah, love it.
Let's go to our next Yankee of the week. Brian, do you want to take the floor here or do you want me to take the floor?
You go first. You go.
All right. So I have a dual kind of Yankee of the week this week. It's difficult to decide between the two because they've both been absolutely mashing the ball.
Video game numbers.
Danny, would you mind while I'm talking pulling up did you see that, or Brian, did you?
I got it. I got it right here. Don't worry. I had it right. I was
the
ready.
Dual graphic. Okay, perfect. Look, man, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. Yeah, that's the exact graphic that I was talking about. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. I don't like. This is the best they played together, I think, throughout the course of them being together the Yankees. Just to give you some perspective, Giancarlo over his last 7 games is hitting .393 with 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, with a .433 on base percentage and a .964 slug. That is stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid numbers. So,
and his last 15.
On the other hand, over Judge's last 7 games, Judge is hitting .346 average, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 5 walks, .692 slug, and a .438 on base percentage. They are both. I can't even say that, like, you would think they're carrying the offense, but they're not. They're not carrying the offense because the offense is insane. Actually, well, maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. They're not really insane right now, but Judge and Stanton are just it's amazing what I'm seeing. And if they can keep it up, obviously Judge is an MVP candidate right now. If Stanton keeps it up, who knows? Maybe you can see him get some votes. As a DH, it would be difficult, but he could definitely get some votes in there. And I'll let you guys get your thoughts in. And I do want to talk about the Aaron Judge walk-off home run against the Blue Jays, but you guys can get your thoughts in.
See, like, you're just capping them at 7 games. Even their numbers, like, through 15 games, the last 2 weeks.
The whole season, their numbers are crazy.
I mean, the whole season, their numbers are obviously crazy. Stanton went through that little slump in the beginning of the year, but he's so back. Like we said,
Stanton literally turned his season around over like 10, 15 games.
Yes.
And he does that often. I just feel like he goes on such streaks, but like his hot streaks are not normal hot streaks. You
can't get him out.
Streaks. Like I was gonna say, like, I feel like, Dan, you got it after the sense, but like they're both seeing a beach ball up there right now. To like every time, like you get up, I expect a big hit, and I have got what I expected the whole time. Like,
yeah, and you love when you're hot, and everything's gonna fall. Like Giancarlo Stanton, the broken bat, game-tying single yesterday. Like everything's falling for them. They're swinging the bat so well. Like over his last 15, Giancarlo's hitting 345. I know you said his last 7, but over his last 15, he's hitting 345. Like, and I love how you did that. They did them combined because everybody around baseball, all dummies around baseball, say Judge and Stanton are the same exact person. They just strike out and hit home runs, which we all know.
So not true.
We all know that neither of them are that guy that just strikes out.
So not true.
But what I wanted to talk about Judge, to stray a little bit from his play, I want to talk about his attitude. So you guys know Judge was never the one to cause or to want trouble. Like, he's always going to be a civil, nice guy. You would rarely see him arguing with the umpire. On Monday, Judge and DJ LeMahieu were arguing with that umpire because he was bad. But as an umpire, if you're getting reactions out of DJ and Judge, you're doing something wrong. Anyway, Tuesday, Giancarlo Stanton hits the game-tying 3-run homer. The next at-bat, Josh Donaldson gets hit. And it flashes to Judge in the dugout. He's about to climb up and go charge at Yimi Garcia. He's literally ready to fight. And I love seeing that from Judge. It's that fuck you personality. And really, I love you. That's what we wanted through this season, though. And of course, the guy that said we need that fuck you is the only guy without fuck you, and that's Aaron Hicks. But like, just seeing that attitude change, they're just playing with this swagger, this intensity, this tenacity that is just unseen. Like, we haven't seen this from them ever, really. And I credit it a little bit. I credit a lot of it, maybe even to Josh Donaldson. He is definitely that guy. He's been fighting all week.
They are a completely different team from the teams that they've been in years past. Years past, it's always been hot streak, streaky, freezing cold, then another hot streak, and then it was just like kind of like that endless cycle. And it would always be like, this team's lifeless. I remember last year there were many moments where the team was extremely lifeless, and it was like, what are we doing? What are we throwing out there right now? And it's just like, this year the team seems so rallied together. And like, this was a couple weeks ago, but like on Judge's birthday, like they all went out like after a game, and they all went to party on Judge's birthday. And I think Donaldson handed Judge the cake. And it just goes to show, like, obviously, Danny, to your point, that Donaldson is like the catalyst behind, their attitude. But I just think it goes to show, like, when a team is this close and with how good they've been playing, it's going to be really difficult to stop them, especially with obviously how good the pitching's been. So
that's a big thing. They like each other.
Yeah,
they're friends.
Donaldson's a party hat guy. He was wearing one of those little party hats at his birthday, and that was what I was going to say too about, like, and I do think this team is built like that, and this team has an edge that we've never seen them have, like, in this era of Yankees baseball, like, which I guess we call the Boone era, but they have it, and he himself has it, and he's grown on me as well, Boone. Like, but
shout out Aaron
Boone has had a good season. Boone has had a good season, but yet again, it's kind of tough not to when everybody is firing on all cylinders like they are right now. But
I don't want to interrupt really quick. I don't want to interrupt you, Brian, and then I'll let you keep going. But shout out to Aaron Boone, because we gave him a lot of heat in the offseason. He's done nothing but good this year. I think he's made all the right moves.
Except for Chapman.
last night I would have left Clay Holmes in, but you got to make mistakes sometime, right? And
Yeah.
I think Boone is putting together a really good year, and I think a lot of his managerial antics that he's had throughout the year shouldn't go unnoticed. But sorry, Brian, continue. You were talking about
No,
Boone.
I could even go off that. Like nobody's been harder on Aaron Boone than me and maybe the three of us, but like he really has impressed me this year. We always knew he had that kind of chip on his shoulder, like, and the arguments are great and all that. But like, even he's brought that to the edge of the team. You even see like my new favorite video or GIF out there. You see Higgy with the fucking bitch from the dugout, from the dugout to Garcia. So like this team is just, I love them. They're just fun. They have the edge. They're fun. They win. And another thing I meant to say, like how this team feels different this year is how like, when somebody said, which one of you said lifeless? Was it Chase?
Me, yeah.
So like, yeah, and me and Danny were having a conversation about this the other day where a lot of times in the past few years when they're down late or even when they're down early, like I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. They're going to roll over and die. But now every time they're down, I expect them to come back, and they do. And
yeah. I was going to say that too. Like there's never it doesn't matter how many runs they're down. I'm not ruling out this Yankees team until that final out is made.
Well, that's a great segue right there, Brian, into let's talk about the Aaron Judge walk-off really quick before we get into your player of the week.
So hype.
Aaron Judge hit a walk-off behemoth walk-off home run. Does anyone have the distance on that?
450.
450. Was it 450 on the dot?
I believe so, yes.
So he pulled the ball 450 to left field.
And the ball was not carrying that night either. Like the wind wasn't doing any favors that night.
Finally, Judge's first walk-off home run of his career, and we've been waiting for this for so many years. There's always been that narrative that Judge is not clutch, which is just not true. Judge is extremely clutch. I think in his first few years he wasn't clutch, but obviously the last couple of years he's really
his first year, I think.
But that was definitely like that is my favorite moment of this season so far. And there's been a lot of amazing moments this season. So that goes to show how hype it really was. They rallied late in the ninth inning. I don't remember the rally off the top of my head. Does anyone remember the rally?
Trevino walked.
Did IKF get on or no? No, right? Trevino walked.
And I think DJ walked. DJ walked as well.
DJ did walk. And
DJ walked as well. So Romano was a little
yeah, Brian was saying in the group chat, he kept saying like Romano doesn't have that what was it, his slider?
He did not have the slider all night. I was texting you guys pitch by pitch, and everyone's getting annoyed with me, but I could just tell that he did not have the slider, and he was nervous to throw Judge a fastball. So I kept saying like if he leaves that slider up there, like Judge is going to kill it, and he did. It's exactly what he did. He left it right up there, and Judge did not miss it. And it was
one at bat from Judge, fouling pitches off. Like that's another thing you see from Judge. Great at bats. Like he's not just rolling over, striking out right away, but he was fouling pitches off. He was fouling that slider off. He did throw a couple good sliders. Judge fouled it off. That fastball, I think the third pitch of the at bat, he threw him a fastball and Judge fouled it back. And that really switched that flipped the at bat. I know people were talking about that, but then he saw the fastball too. He saw both pitches. So now he's ready for anything. And when you hang that slider at the top of the zone for one of, if not the best power hitter in the game, and that's not coming back. Don't expect to see that ball ever again.
We even saw a little bit of a gritty Judge.
Yes,
gritty Judge a little bit.
Like a little.
Not gonna ask Danny to do his gritty again.
It looked like he was like an old man trying to be hip with the young dances.
But that's almost what it was, because Judge has been so mild-mannered his whole carear, but now he's fun and he's like,
he's
like, this is
the attitude.
Thank you, Josh Donaldson.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that. Josh Donaldson has had a couple incidents this week alone that has stirred some controversy and almost started a couple fights, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah. The Yankees swept the Blue Jays in that 2-game set. Awesome walk-off. Brian, let's go into your Yankee of the week. Who's it going to be?
Oh, boys, this is a great day. Because my Yankee of the week is finally Joseph Gallo. And
wow.
Awesome.
Joey!
Listen,
hang on. Let's give a round of applause for Joe Gallo really quick.
He deserves it.
Let's give Joe Gallo a round of applause.
He is a good baseball player. Get off his
pal Joey. He's pal Joey. Okay, so a lot of people might still think that Gallo sucks, and while you do think that, you're an idiot and you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. But He is
still
actually
wrong.
starting to put it together, and he has put it together. And this is so awesome to see him kind of figure it out a little bit. And I have a bunch of stats I'm going to throw out there. But first, I just wanted to say, like, you guys know I love Joey Gallo, but that doesn't mean that I think he's like this great all-star caliber player. I just love him, and I'll tell you why. And it's because, and you guys, I know you guys all agree, is that he really does play his ass off out there every night.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
That's something that we haven't seen from certain guys, not to not to name names, you bald fuck number 31, but there are he really does play his heart out every night, and you love to see it. But what I did want to say about Gallo is this is like, and I know Chase, you've been person like, what does he bring to the team like at his worst? And what he's supposed to bring to the team, he is now doing. He's been playing his defense. He had that great diving catch the other day, so he's been playing well in the field. But now he's finally starting to get on base more and draw those walks, and his home runs are starting to come. So first preface this by because we're going to get a little analytical here in this long Joey Gallo model.
Let's hear it.
But probably the most important analytical stat, like when the university agreed, is WRC plus, which is weighted runs created plus. And by our friend on Twitter, Ryan Garcia, defines it as a stat that uses a player's weighted runs above average, all-encompassing offensive stat, and compares it to the league and park averages to create a scale. So 100 is league average, and if you were at 105, you're 5% better than league average, basically. So Joey Gallo, since April 23rd, has a 193 weighted runs created plus. So this guy is good, whether you like believe it or not. And another good stat I had too was from another Twitter guy, Joe Randazzo. He has been good for the Yankees longer than he struggled. So his first 39 plate appearances, he was slashing 121, 256, 199, and 28 WRC plus. That's abysmal. That's like unbelievably bad. But since his last 57, 255, 333, 510, and 152 WRC plus. So he has been good.
That's really good for Joey Gallo.
Wasn't that before
this
yesterday's
week?
game?
Yeah,
yesterday's game. So
huge.
That's not including these last two games of the weekend. Like that doesn't include his home run, right? Wasn't that stat put out?
Does that include, because he homered today? Does that include today's home run?
No, wasn't that stat put out a couple days ago?
No, this was 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't even include the last two nights, which goes to show that he's playing even better than that.
Yeah, I'm gonna I just did analytical stuff. I was gonna bring up his the traditional stats for people that want to hear that. So his last 15 games, which I feel like people are gonna hear this and be like, no way, but this is really true. He's gotten so much hate, but over the last 15 games, he's hitting 268 with an on-base percentage of 388, slugging 634, and he has 5 homers in that span. He has 5 on the year, so he's heating up now. He's got 5 homers.
That's over a 1,000 OPS too.
Yes, it is. And if you even want to condense it smaller over this last week, over the last 7 games, and I'm not sure if this probably doesn't even include today yet, where he homered and walked and had another good game. He's hitting 300, 462 on base, 600 slugging, and 2 homers in the last 7. So he's not going to do this the whole year because this is the best he's been maybe in his whole career, and people don't realize it. But I'm so happy I could get to talk about Gallo in a positive light because although he has been awful for a long time, I think he's really starting to figure it out, and I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah, I feel like when Gallo is playing well, and I think that, like you mentioned, Brian, I think that this is the player that the Yankees expected when they traded for him, the way that he's been playing over the last X amount of games. I think this is what they expected, and I think that he's finally coming into that a little bit. I think it's really easy to root for him, like you said, because he plays really hard. It was really easy to root against him. Like, obviously, I was a very big Joey Gallo hater for a long time, but he's turning my head because seeing what like Aaron Hicks has done in the field, not even just at the plate, in the field, it makes me appreciate Gallo a lot more because Gallo really does play his heart out there, and he's laying out, he's running after balls, getting after it. And I've really started to appreciate Joe Gallo a little more. I think you guys can probably back me up with some of my texts in the group chat. But it's been great to watch. And I think with Gallo heating up, I think it just makes the Yankees lineup even way more threatening than it already is.
Yeah. And I think we could credit a lot of Joey Gallo's recent success to me because his first game back from injury, when I called his home run and he hit that home run, he's been awesome ever since then. But I think what I said towards the beginning, why Joey Gallo wasn't hitting as well as, we wanted him to, or we expected him to, is because that approach he had where everybody is telling him, just beat the shift then, like prove you could beat the shift. Like, don't bitch about it, beat it. So he was trying to go the other way. You saw his lone hits on the season were singles the other way, like single ground balls the other way.
Yeah.
But now it really looks like he's going back to his approach. He's forgotten about that. He's like, all right, I'm going to trust myself, trust my skill set. It's worked for me thus far. I've been an MVP candidate at some points in my career. So before he got traded to the Yankees last year, even the first half of the season, he was up there. Anyway, he said, like, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to go back to my approach. And obviously it seems to be working.
Which is great. And he's like Brian said, he's not going to, like, I love it that Brian said this because he's not going to, be this guy for the rest of the season. Like, he will, have some low moments because that's just the player that he is. But it's just, it's great to see that he's playing better and we're here for it. And let's do it. Let's do it, Joey Gallo.
You could really, and another thing is, like, you could really tell when guys really do want to be good and, like, it really bothers them when they're not. And he's one of those guys. So, like, I'm just like, he's been I don't want to say he's been a bad Yankee, but he's been hated by the fans for a while. And I always, had like a soft spot for him and still do, where, like, just because, like, you could really see that he wants to be good. Like, as I said before, like, he really does. Like, other guys,
because people want to be bad.
But, like, some people don't really care. Like, I feel like Hicks goes back to the dugout, like, whatever, like, I'm getting paid. Like, he doesn't do that. Like, Gallo, it really affects him. And so I just always find myself, like, really, really rooting for Gallo to do well. And I feel bad when he makes outs and gets upset. Like, I do. So,
yeah. I feel bad.
I do. So I'm really excited.
Like, there was a point in time where I really started to feel bad for Joey Gallo. Like seeing him walk back to the dugout, depressed. Seeing him in the dugout, I really need to be better. And I was like, damn, I'm actually starting to feel bad for this guy because like you said, he wants to be good. Like,
and
why would you want to be good?
He loves his teammates.
And it seems like the teammates love him. So yeah, it's good to see pal Joey playing a little bit better.
Yeah. And like you said about actually caring and trying. I know I texted you guys. Hicks, I think he signed that 7-year deal, stupid 7-year deal.
7 years, $70 million.
Yeah, stupid. I mean, I know it's not that much money, but, like, that guy shouldn't be making $10 million either. But like, he's walking after balls. Like, I think he goes back to the dugout and is just like, haha, you idiots really gave me 7 years of security to be this bad. Like, I don't give a shit.
To build off of you saying walking to the ball, top of the 8th against, I think it was the first game. No, was it the second game?
It was the Judge game. No, it was the Judge game.
Second game of the Blue Jay series.
That blew the lead.
Hicks jogs to the ball and Vlad scores from first. So, how do you let Vladimir Guerrero Jr. score from first base? Like,
on a ball that doesn't even reach the wall.
When Vlad runs, like, he looks pretty quick for his size, but, like, he can't be scoring from first on jogging to a ball. Like, that's not allowed. And he should have been benched for that. He wasn't. But also, like, even Hicks, like, I nicknamed him 700%. I think it's a perfect nickname for him because he's always, even like there was actually one swing where I was like, great, here we go. 700% is up. And Brian texted us, Hicks actually swung the bat and he was, like, facing the dugout. Like, he literally was in the dugout, and Brian pointed it out to me and I, like, couldn't stop laughing about it. But yeah, that, like, seeing what Hicks has been doing has made me appreciate Joey Gallo some more. So that's all I have for that.
Yeah, no, and it's just like, when are you going to learn that you can't hit home runs, you can't hit it all? Like, maybe just stick to trying to, like, stop trying to swing for the fences. You can't.
You should go back and play golf. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, he's sick of golf. So
he grew up and played golf, and he chose to play baseball. And I really think the Yankees and Aaron Hicks would be better off if he was playing golf.
In the White Sox series, he had a couple of good at bats. Like, today he walked, and he walked to continue that walk rally that Kopech had.
Okay, see, so you guys, like, yes. Brian, you're probably about to say this, but I know I texted you guys this. Like, everybody complains about Hicks not getting a day off. He's, like, the only guy that doesn't get a day off. But, like, we moved him down. Him being in the one spot doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, he gets on base and works walks, but that's all he does. In the one spot, you need a guy that also could hit. I like Aaron Hicks in the 9 spot because if you can have that guy that can work a walk and turn the lineup over back to the top of the lineup, that's huge. So really, I think if Hicks is playing, it has to be in that 9 spot because that's where you really maximize his skill set, which is walking. The only thing he knows how to do at the plate is walk. So I
At
think
least until he can figure it
out.
out, hitting right. Like if he can't figure it out, that's where he's got to stay.
Yes. And that's not even saying like, oh, you're the worst, you go to the 9 spot. Like, no, that's a very valuable spot in the lineup. Like you're turning the lineup over to DJ, to Judge, to Stanton, Rizzo, like all these guys that are responsible for getting the RBIs and scoring the runs. So your job is to get on base, and Hicks does a very good job at that at times. So him in the 9 spot is good.
What I was gonna say,
I agree, Danny.
What I was going to say was the lineup is better with him out of it. So not exactly what you're gonna say. Not exactly what you're gonna say. I was gonna say I like Judge in center, but I did just check. Like according to Baseball Reference, he does have a 359 on base percentage, which is very good. So in the 9 spot, I definitely agree with you. That's a good point. That's where he should be if he plays at all.
Yeah, especially like in the 9 spot. You know, you're not really supposed to get production from 9 spots. So to have that turnover, like Danny said, is obviously awesome. And with the production that we've gotten from Higashioka and Trevino,
or the lack thereof.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Trevino actually has been, I think, solid I think he's been really good for his role. I know you guys know how much I love Trevino.
He can't hit for anything either though, like at all.
But he he's good.
He's had a lot of clutch singles, clutch walks. Come on.
That's true.
Trevino can't hit.
I love Trevino,
but he's better. I'm more confident in him stealing strikes behind the plate than I am.
Oh yeah. There's no debate. Trevino has been nothing short of perfect behind the plate this year. Higgy's been, I don't know the exact numbers, but he hasn't been like Higashioka, what we expected from him. But Trevino, it's like night and day watching those two catch.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, like I was going to say, and this probably will take us into the next little thing here, but Trevino is good for his role, like you said. But the Yankees now, like we know this offense is good enough, and especially the pitching staff, where to be a championships team, you don't need Judge and Stanton 1 through 9. Like you don't need these crazy offensive production 1 through 9. You're like I'd honestly rather have an elite defensive catcher back there if Trevino can be that or whoever, or if Higgy can come back. I'd rather have that than trying to worry about their hitting, just like shore up the team as a whole. With that being said, we need a shortstop that can play defense. And I think that we're going to talk about IKF right now. If you guys agree.
Yeah, let's do that.
Very up and down opinions on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa because he has come up clutch and has had some big hits and big walks.
Big hit last night.
Big hit last night.
And then he ruined it.
And then ruined it.
And then what are you doing?
What are we doing?
All right. For those that didn't see.
Paint the picture.
Oh my God. It just makes me so angry.
Paint the picture.
It makes me so angry. Who was it? Gallo on first, right? It was Gallo on first. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, a great at-bat, pushing the ball the other way over the first baseman's head for a single. Great job in that situation.
Yeah,
that's your job.
Okay,
that's your job in the ninth inning. That's your job at the bottom of the lineup. You get on base, you push that ball the other way, and you get that ball in the outfield. Joey Gallo goes to first and third. The next batter, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa steals second base.
Steals a
Let's go, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Let's go. You're the man, dude. You are the man.
You're the man.
Just don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid.
Don't really there's no way he's gonna do something stupid to fuck up everything good he just did, right? So the ball is hitting the air. Higgy hits the ball to left field.
Great job by Higgy, by the way.
Great job, Higgy.
Great job by Higgy.
The ball in the air, my guy.
To left field. So mind you, when you're on second base, as Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was, that play is in front of you. You're seeing that play in front of you. Gallo scores easily. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa thinks it's a great idea to try to get to third. They right to the cutoff man, easy out at third base, 2 outs now, and that instead of having the go-ahead run in scoring position with 1 out for the top of the lineup, it's now 2 outs and nobody on. And that is why we ended up losing the game in the next inning.
That's my explosion. That's my explosion sound, guys. That's my explosion sound for ruining last night's rally.
Ruining it. It's like he does something good. He does something good. He does good. And we're like, oh, wow, this is the IKF we wanted. This is the IKF we knew was going to be here. Then he just does something boneheaded to fuck it up. And everybody's like, he said after the game that, yeah, it was a boneheaded play. Like, I know that. I'll learn from it and won't happen again. Once is too many. Everybody's like, oh, we definitely appreciate the accountability. Like, no shit, it was a boneheaded play. What is he supposed to do? Like, oh, yeah, I thought that was a great play by me, like ruining the Yankees rally. Like, no, that's something you don't learn from that. That's something you should know.
Yeah.
in Little League. You know that you're watching that play in front of you. You know when to go and when to not. So it won't happen again. It doesn't matter. You lost us a game already. Once is too much.
I don't know. I think you did mention this, Danny, but it would have turned the lineup up to DJ, Judge, and Rizzo, obviously the top of the order. So it would have been top of the order, 1 out. This is almost reminiscent of the wild card game when Gallo made that mistake. Oh no, not Gallo. When Phil Nevin sent Judge rounding third. It's just like you ruin a rally in like the biggest moment of the game. Like, what are we doing? Like, how does
top of the ninth inning?
How does that happen?
Like, as soon as that ball from Higgie's up in the air, we're all excited. Like, let's go, tie game. Like, now let's take the lead. And then as soon as you see him get thrown out, like the whole mood shifted. And I was like, oh, now I don't know if we're gonna win this game. It was terrible. That was one of the dumbest plays I've seen ever. And Danny, Chase, I think I said those exact words to you today that Danny just said. How everybody's like praising him for his accountability. I don't give a fuck. Don't make the play.
Yeah.
So that was
Look, if it worked out, it would have been awesome. But it
didn't.
Don't
take the risk either way.
Don't take the risk.
There's no world. The only way that works out is if the left fielder is throwing home. The left fielder was like 3/4 of the way in the outfield. No outfielder is throwing home on that because there's no chance at getting the out at home. Everybody is hitting the cut. So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, what are you doing?
Yeah, and
he needs to be better.
The last thing, I don't want to harp on the negatives, like we said going into this, because they've been great, and I don't want to be that like Debbie Downer. And we're getting greedy because, as we all, like me and Chase talked about this today, like we're getting greedy because like nitpicking on how good this team is. But one thing that really worries me about IKF, especially, is how bad his glove is, because I'm just thinking ahead to the playoffs. You can't have a guy at short that can't play it in a situation like that. Like, he could easily make an error to lose the Yankee season. So I think something needs to be done about that eventually. That's all I can say about it.
But the problem is, though, is the other night when Cole was on the mound, Garrett Cole was on the mound, and IKF made that error. Cole got out of it, but it forced him to throw 30 pitches in the first inning, right? So Cole works his pitch count. He's getting tired, but he got out of it because, that's just what Cole does. He's a beast. He finds a way to get out of it, right? And later on in the game, IKF also makes another error.
That didn't count as
on
an
the
error.
throw to first. That didn't count as an error. I think it was a Tim Anderson ground ball, right?
Yeah, the White Sox scoreboard, like the scoring guy, whatever, that does the errors is so bad. There were like a few errors in that game. Michael K was pissed.
Yeah, Michael K was pissed because he literally said, if Tim Anderson has, I think it was 8 errors on the year. If Tim Anderson has 8 errors on the year, how many errors does he really have with the way the scoring has gone this year?
Yeah, because Tim Anderson made a bad throw for an error. And and he's like, oh, that's his 10th error. He looks at the score sheet and he's like, that's not an error. In what fucking world is that not an E6? And it's, again, like he probably has like 20 errors on this season at that point.
And that error led to very next batter. I think it was Gavin Sheets, 2-run homer off of Garrett Cole. And that's 3 earned for Cole. So Cole had the 1 earned run off of his balk, which was a mistake on his part. But after that, the 2 earned runs, and like you said, Brian, that cannot happen in the playoffs. If that happens in the playoffs, it's like a death sentence,
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen. So that needs to be figured out. I think a short-term solution, obviously you can keep playing IKF there, which I think will be the solution, but a short-term solution, like you just said, Brian, Marwin Gonzalez, why can't he play short?
He's so smooth out there.
So smooth out there. He's a good defender. He's a good contact hitter. He puts the ball in play. Switch hitter. Could work. Could work.
And IKF, like after his early struggles, he had that stretch for like a week or two, week and a half, 2 weeks, where he was good. He was good on defense. He was making every play on defense. He was good at the plate. He was having good at bats. But then all of a sudden, it just flips again. Like you can't have that inconsistency.
We know that's in him, though. Like we know that good play is in him because
but it has
he
to be
showed
consistent.
it. But it has to be consistent.
But it's not even about the flashy play. Like you always say, like, oh, he could make that play running in the hole and jump throw, whatever. Like, no, it's the routine plays you have to make. It's the teams that make the routine plays. And the Yankees defense has been a lot better this year. And that's part of the reason why they are so good. But really, I don't care if he can make this full laying out play every time. Like, no, you have to make the routine plays 9.9 out of 10 times. Like, yeah, you're allowed to make a couple errors. But when we traded for you to be a defensive shortstop and a defensive presence on this team, you got to make the routine plays.
Right. You have to. Especially a short. It's premium position.
That's what I was saying, like going back to the catcher thing where like the offense is good enough. We don't need a crazy 1 through 9. We need other things to be shored up. And IKF was supposed to be that elite fielder that you don't have to worry about over there. And if he hits, he hits. But he's not that. He's the opposite of that.
So let me ask you this.
Why not play Marwin?
Let me ask you this. we were in the offseason, we were like, the Yankees better not sign. We will hate if the Yankees sign Andrelton Simmons.
I said that he'd be better. He hasn't played. I think he's been hurt all year, but I'm just saying, like, you would never have to worry about him. I know that for a fact. It's short, and he wouldn't hit for anything. But the Yankees might be better. But
I still think IKF would have been a better option.
I still think so. I honestly think so.
And having Andrelton Simmons in the bottom of the lineup hitting like 100, 200 behind Gallo,
Higgy,
it wouldn't have boded well.
Yeah, no, I definitely still think IKF, but it still poses the question. Like, it does pose the question, like, would you rather that shirt up defense at shortstop or for a little less offense? Or, like IKF could provide some clutch offense. Like, he's shown it. He could slap the ball the other way.
He does have the clutch gene. I'll give him that. He does have the clutch gene. He has.
Yeah, except when he runs into outs. Oh God, I don't want to be so negative though. Like, they're great. The Yankees are great. They're the best team in baseball. Positive.
And they haven't lost many, but the ones they have lost have been just absolutely heartbreaking.
I don't want to dampen the mood, but I do want to be a little bit more negative before we sign off.
Oh no,
we have a little bit of time. I want to talk about Loizaga and Aroldis Chapman. We can do this quick. Man, okay. The other night on the first game of the series against the White Sox, Loizaga gave up a big home run to tie the game against Yohan Moncada. Guys, let's make this quick. Are you worried about Loizaga?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes.
I am very worried about Loizaga. He doesn't have his stuff this year to really, make him that elite pitcher that he was last year. So if he can't get back to that, he is going to have to be forced into a role where he's not allowed to pitch into big game situations. So that'll force Mike King into his role, or at least his role from last year.
Yeah. See, like you guys know, I was always a huge Jonathan Loizaga guy. Like at the back half of last season, Jonathan Loizaga and Clay Holmes were my two favorite Yankees. Obviously, Clay Holmes is still up there, but that home run to Moncada was Jonathan Loizaga's third home run allowed this season. That now ties what he gave up all of last season. So definitely a little worrisome. He does not have that great stuff that we're used to seeing from him. He's not locating. He doesn't have control. He's just leaving those pitches over the middle. And he's getting hit. And it sucks to see.
Yeah, it's sad because – go ahead, Brian.
No, you go first because I had to.
It's sad because Loizaga last year was definitely our best bullpen arm. And him not being reliable this year, he was, climbing the charts, being one of my favorite players on the Yankees, and him not being reliable this year is really concerning to me. And I just want good old Johnny back, man.
You could look at the like core stats, like ERA. He has a 5.93 ERA. Like, you could see that's terrible, but even the advanced stats, like his Baseball Savant page is gross. Like, he's in the first percentile for expected ERA. So that's the worst. That's the worst in baseball.
That's as bad as it gets.
That's the worst. Fourth percentile in hard hit percentage. So he's getting hit hard. Like we said, it's just all of these numbers are bad. I'm not going to read through all of them, but they're all bad except for velocity. And he's still getting some swing and miss. He is still getting some swing and miss, which shows like his stuff could be there at times, but it's just the location. He's not getting good location on it.
Take the floor, Brian. What were you going to say about Loizaga?
No, it's upsetting because we've seen him, like, he was, like Danny said, the back half so incredibly dominant last year, and like I feel like he goes in it's a tight game, you're like, okay, like we win or the score is going to stay the same. Like, I never worried about him last year, and now it's kind of an adventure when he gets to the mound, which is something new. But if we want to transition quick, something that's not new is Aroldis Chapman not being able to find the strike zone ever, and that can be an issue in the playoffs, right? Too. It's like, I can't do it anymore.
It's amazing.
You never know. He doesn't even know where the ball's going. Oh.
We shouted out Matt Blake earlier in this episode. Matt Blake, shout out to you. You've completely turned around the whole pitching staff. Why haven't we been able to figure out Aroldis Chapman, who has historically been one of the best closers in baseball? And why haven't we figured out Loizaga? Like, there's time on Loizaga, but Chapman has been like this for a few years now where he's pretty inconsistent. Chapman, I'm very worried about. I'm very worried about Chapman. You can look at his numbers. I don't know what his ERA is right now, but going into last night before he blew the save, it was 0. But that's because he had gotten bailed out a couple times by Mike King. I'm very worried about Chapman. I think he's very, very, very close to losing his closer role. And even Aaron Boone said yesterday that there is no set closer anymore. So he'll who knows? You might start seeing him in the 7th or 8th inning now. So we'll see.
I like that. And one thing Boone has been so much better with this year is when Chapman looks like you can tell really quickly with Chapman if he doesn't have it. And Boone's been so good with getting guys up right away. Although he didn't do that yesterday for some reason, but you could tell that Chapman's just his control is just not there. The stuff might be there, but the control is not there. And I think I speak for all Yankee fans when we say we are very worried when he's in a game a close game like that. And that's
the
just
fake stat of his ERA too. And
shout out to the Yes Network too, because they broke it down last night in the post game. Shout out Jack Curry.
Wait.
And you're right, Danny.
So Nestor.
All right. Well, shout out Jack Curry, right? So shout out Jack.
Nestor
Curry.
Cortez just got canceled on Twitter, and he deactivated his Twitter account.
What?
We're missing something on Twitter. I think old tweets might have came up.
It was that tweet that I found today, maybe.
How does
let's not read it. We don't want to read that in the pod.
I already did. But all right, Nestor Cortez is a little Twitter scandalous right now. He deactivated his Twitter after shutting down the White Sox. I want to talk about Chapman, but got a notification on Twitter that Nestor Cortez is getting canceled, and I'm like, what the hell?
Well, I do want to finish my point on Chapman. Last night, Jack Curry broke it down. I think Michael K broke it down too. He threw 6 straight fastball, or not 6 straight, but he threw 6 fastballs in the zone, all for strikes. Chapman, when he first came in, Tim Anderson gets on with a single, and then Tim Anderson dancing on the bases, distracting. Obviously, Chapman was very, very, very bothered by it. And following that, Chapman threw 6 more fastballs. All of them were out of the zone. We can't be worried. I know Tim Anderson is one of the best base stealers in the game, but we cannot be worried about that. You have to worry about the guy that's at the plate. If he steals a base, leave it in the hands of the catcher. If he steals a base, he steals a base. You're the one that let him on. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're 100% right. He's totally not the dominant guy he was.
As a closer, you don't worry about the base runners. That's not your job. Your job is to get outs. But he has a 1.54 ERA. You think that's good.
You'd be like, oh, he's elite. Stat. What are you talking about?
Like, literally, this was before what his ERA going into last night was like 0.79. And my uncle was actually over, and he's a Mets fan. So, whatever. And he sees Chapman's ERA, and he's like, oh, all the Yankee fans were shitting on Chapman, not wanting him to be the closer. And look at him. He's lights out. And I'm like, dude, that's a fake stat. You just got fooled by the fake stat of ERA because he has gotten his ass saved by Michael King. He's walked in a winning run that, ghost runner doesn't count as his run, but, whatever. And he just hasn't been able to find the strike zone. That one, I'll talk about the second Blue Jays game where we won 5-3. Going into the 9th inning, we were up 5-2. He let up a run. And with a runner on first, Bo Bichette hit a bomb that just went foul. So that really, really should have been a tie game that he blew. But luckily, like that seems to what he's been doing. He's just been getting lucky. But eventually, luck runs out.
And one thing that drives me insane about it is in most of his blown saves, the team didn't earn them. They're not hits. He's letting guys on base and then getting flustered by it. And the last thing I'll say about it is in the past, or you know what, since Chapman's whole tenure as a Yankee, I feel like our season has ended with him on the mound too much, and I can't deal with it again.
Something's got to change. I wonder if they'll be active because their bullpen is so crazy. I wonder if they'll be active in the trade market. I would love to see Clay Holmes take that role. But I also love Clay Holmes in that 7th, 8th inning role to get you out of trouble he's literally a double play machine. Like if you need a double play, he will get you the double play. He's done it all year. He did it all last year. So I don't want to take him out of that role. Johnny Loizaga looked like he was primed for that role. He's not ready for the role. Obviously, we spoke about him before. So who does that leave? Who does that leave to be the closer? Can't be Mike King.
Clay Holmes. It's got to be Clay Holmes.
So I wonder if they'll be active in the trade market to get one more arm. I don't know though. But that's all I got for everything that we had today. Do you guys have anything else that you want to say?
Just really quickly, I wanted to say how Donaldson. Did you guys talk about the Heineman thing with Donaldson?
No, but that was hilarious.
That was Donaldson got into a little argument with the Blue Jays catcher. And after the game, the reporters were asking if there was any prior beef with him or prior thing. And he was like, I have no idea who that guy is. I've never heard of his name in his life. I've never heard of him. Just again, with the attitude, the swagger,
They were like, they were like, we heard you guys had a little bit of a conversation there at the plate. What'd you guys talk about? Baseball.
Baseball.
He says baseball to the reporter. So
Yeah.
funny.
Then throw him under. Like, I don't know who that guy is. Like, he's irrelevant.
Donaldson's bat's been getting going a little more, so
Mhm.
it'll be. I don't know how anyone can have anything bad to say about Donaldson if he really does keep up the hitting that he's had over this last White Sox series.
Yep. All right, but again, last day, four game series in Baltimore. We got to win that, and then against Chicago again.
What do you guys got for the Baltimore series?
We're sweeping.
Sweep.
We better sweep.
Let's do it. Let's get a sweep. Let's get that record up. What are we, 25-9 now?
25-9 plus 69 run differential. Best record in baseball. Only team without double-digit losses. Let's go, Yanks.
Let's get that to 29-9. And hopefully by the next time we talk, who knows? Maybe we'll still have single-digit losses. Imagine. That'd be crazy.
That would be insane.
I would love to see them get to 30-9. Obviously, it's so difficult, but
yeah,
with the way they played, they can do it. Let's go, Yanks, boys. This has been Chase. I am signing off.
Brian, I'm out.
Yeah, Danny will sign off too.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at official STN pod and on Instagram at spread of the news. And we will see you guys.
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.